The current state of music is highly unpredictable. The industry faces new challenges every single day, some beneficial for small creators like us, others with the potential to completely disrupt or even destroy the business as we know it. In the last decade, we witnessed the rise of streaming platforms that promise to eliminate piracy by offering unlimited access to music for a small monthly fee. For musicians, streaming has been a double-edged sword. Initially, it gave small creators the chance to stand alongside major artists in the same library, but payouts have dropped, and platforms now require massive listener numbers before an artist earns anything significant. Even major artists have seen their income shrink, unless they are global superstars with hundreds of millions of streams. And streaming is just one problem. Major labels are struggling to adapt to the new media and the loss of the former influence. Instead of developing fresh talent, they now sign influencers who are already famous. In the old media landscape, a single national TV appearance could turn a newcomer into the next big thing. Today, while we have the opportunity to self-promote, the sheer flood of content makes it hard to stand out. On social media, many small musicians find that most of their followers are other musicians, which doesn't necessarily help us reach a broader audience. Then there's the looming fear of AI-generated music. If the general public doesn't care whether a song was made by a human or a machine, what happens to us? Another worrying trend is that fewer and fewer people are picking up real instruments. Music used to build around live performance, but now pop culture often celebrates choreography over musicianship. We see teenagers praising an artist more for their dance moves than their ability to sing or play. Until the 2000s, we still had mainstream bands like Linkin Park, Creed, and Evanescence, inspiring countless young people to pick up a guitar or bass. In July 2025, Fernandes, a major Japanese guitar manufacturer, filed for bankruptcy. I believe there's some another cause to this. Maybe it's the declining interest in playing instruments among young people. And Fernandes may be not the last. This could be the future for many companies in the industry. If today's biggest stars are more dancers than musicians, then teenagers who once would have saved up for a Stratocaster or a Les Paul now spend that money on the phone to film themselves dancing. Yes, there are still kids and teens who pick up instruments thanks to their parents or older bands they discover. But will that be enough to sustain the entire industry? When those older bands fade away, will the next generation still feel the urge to put it down the video games and pick up a guitar? Fernandes is the perfect example of this trend. A brand that, just 25 years ago, was one of the most popular in Japan, now gone. The company was founded in 1969, originally selling instruments under the name Saitogaki. By 1972, they rebranded as Fernandes. The first models were Fender copies sold under the Fernandes name, and Gibson copies sold under the Burny brand. Unlike many of the low-quality look-alike instruments flooding the market at the time, Fernandes guitars were well-crafted and thoughtfully designed, earning praise from both amateurs and professionals. Their Fender copies were so precise that Fender reportedly filed complaints, forcing Fernandes to redesign the guitars into super strats, with Floyd Rose tremolos, humbucker pickups, and no-pick guards. Meanwhile, Burny continued to produce Les Paul models, and even built a custom guitar for legendary guitarist Randy Rhoads, the LC-70RR, equipped with VH1 pickups designed to emulate Gibson's puffs. In 1980, Fernandes introduced their BC Rich copy series, including the Mockingbird. This decision would pay off hugely later in the decade when a young guitarist named Hideto Matsumoto chose a Fernandes Mockingbird over the far more expensive BC Rich original. By 1989, Hide had become famous nationwide with his band Axe, and he went on to become one of the most influential Japanese guitarists of the 90s. His Fernandes-made Mockingbird signature models became the dream guitar of an entire generation of Japanese rock fans. Other major Japanese guitarists also embraced Fernandes during the 90s, including Tomoyasu Hotei, who played a Telecaster-inspired model during his final years with Bowie and throughout his successful solo career. At their peak, Fernandes had many famous artists using their guitars, like Billie Joe Armstrong from Green Day, Kirk Hammett from Metallica, Hide and Heath from Axe, Hisashi Mae Hidehiki Hoshino from Bucktick, Ken from Larkin CEO, Tomoyasu Hotei, among others. One of the biggest draws for artists was Fernandes' groundbreaking Sustainer pickup, introduced in September 1991. This system allowed guitarists to control string vibration indefinitely, creating infinite sustain while keeping the natural tone of the instrument, something pedals couldn't fully replicate. Fernandes also became the main Japanese distributor from Digitech, with Hide famously using Digitech rack units like the 2120 in the studio. But the glory days didn't last. Adjusted for inflation, Fernandes' annual sales dropped from $68.2 million in 1999 to a debt of $203,500 in 2022. There are many reasons, as I said before: global economic downturns, fierce competition from manufacturers around the world, the flood of cheap Chinese guitars, and Japan's thriving second-hand guitar market. However, as I said, I would also add the declining interest among younger generations in learning guitar. Fernandes also lost many of their biggest endorsees over the time. Hotei now plays Zodiac guitars, Ken switched to Fender, and their most iconic endorsee Hide tragically passed away in 1998. While Fernandes reissued his signature models without Hide performing, the brand's visibility plummeted. So here's the real question. Is Fernandes' downfall purely a result of market forces and financial missteps? Or is it also a symptom of a much deeper cultural shift? One where learning to play an instrument is slowly fading away.